breath work and regulation is one of the strongest ways for us to stay grounded. One of the most powerful ways for us to regulate our nervous system. And if you have a regulated nervous system, it detaches from the past that's holding on to you. So like I said, one of the strongest things to do is obviously go back and do your childhood healing and heal those past wounds. But if you need to react in the moment, if you need to step into something in the moment, if you want a short-term fix, breathing. But when you do this and you slow down your body and your mind to the stillness that you're in, and you open up your mind, you open up your eyes, and then you make the decision, you respond to what the text is, or you show up in the way you have to, I promise you, your outcome is going to be so different. And that is how you manifest. You create a different energy from which you act out. And when you create a different energy from which you act out, you create a totally different outcome. Now, here's the secret key to manifestation. There's only two ways you can do anything in life. Only two. You can either do it from fear, or you can do it from love. Now, the interesting thing is fear, as we talked about, is the attachment to the past. So whenever you're acting, even if you have to respond to someone you really care about, even if it's a decision that's like costing you millions of dollars in your company or anything, if you make it from fear, you're creating scarcity, which invites more scarcity. But when you pause, you do this breathing for 2 or 3 minutes, 4 minutes maybe. You step into a place of just inner peace, self-acceptance. And then you make this decision. Now you're making it more from a place of love. So your outcome is more likely to move in your favor. And even if the outcome doesn't, you're still in such a grounded, peaceful, and regulated place that you can still create a better result because you can communicate better, you can hold space better, etc. Now here's the third part to it. I taught you about 1, letting go of the past. I taught you about 2, being present and trying and staying present and being focused in the present. Now I'm going to give you the secret sauce. So for all of you who are on this call tonight, I think you're really lucky. I'm lucky that you're here so I can give you this information. But the third part to creating and being okay with uncertainty is creating the feeling. So being in the present sometimes can be very neutral, but now we move to the third part, which is creating the feeling of abundance, creating the feeling of total security, creating this feeling of positivity, of openness, of expansion, of empowerment. And what creates that feeling the fastest? Gratitude. Then if I have to make decisions, if I'm coming across something that could be triggering and challenging, if I'm coming across something that's uncertain, let me try and see what it looks like to step into gratitude a little bit just before this, and then see what that outcome looks like. You have to create the feeling of having what you want and then visualize it, because only then will you get what you want. Because then you're not attached to the outcome. You're already creating the feeling. So when you create the feeling of having it, you're less attached to wanting that. And when you're less attached to it, you're more likely to actually have it. But it's about creating that feeling. And what creates that feeling? Gratitude for the present, or recognition of how would I feel when I have that. Now, the problem with that, however, is as human beings, when we interpret it, we're like, okay, how would I feel like when I have that? When I have that, I would feel like rich, happy. When I have that perfect relationship, I would feel amazing, blah, blah, blah. Most of us forget the next step, which is, okay, let me try and give myself that feeling right now. Most of us get stuck in that step, which is, okay, when I have that, I'll feel like this. Okay, I'm just going to stay waiting to have that, and then I'll feel like this. So we attach the feeling of empowerment, growth, expansion, love, all of that. We attach it to that outcome. We forget the last and the most important step, which is you have to give yourself that feeling right now. If a lot of us are not sure, what does that feel like? What does it feel like to be in this fucking amazing, loving relationship? Yes, I don't know, because most of my life I was in traumatized relationships. Or, yes, what does it feel like to be super abundant and rich? Because most of the time I've been living with that really poor middle-class mentality. I swear to God, that's me. Even in, I was having a discussion with my team. I was talking to my own coach on Friday. my own life is constantly plagued by me sabotaging my ability to have abundance when it comes to finance, especially because I'm like, I don't know, I'm too used to like living a middle class life. I'm too used to like being afraid of like spending too much on things, wasting certain things. Like that's always driving my mind so much so that I manifest living the same way in that mediocre middle class way. And fortunately, in the last few years of my life, I've moved out of that bit by bit, but there are still times it hits me. So then I have to go back and say, okay, remember, Yats, release your attachment to the past. Step number one. Okay, remember, Yats, step number two, do your grounding so you stay in the present. Remember, Yats, step number three, how can I visualize having that abundance? Okay, if I don't know how to have that, how can I be grateful for what I have right now?
Hey, and welcome to the Inner Yats YouTube page. If you like our content, make sure you click the like and the subscribe button so that you get more of these amazing videos that keep coming your way.